Okay, so I was walking by, and TSM Corals, you have like a corner spot in the Reef-A-Palooza, and some nice big, bright tanks with some nice big fish in there. And then you got some of the corals as well, and they have a nice display, one of the better displays here. What do you sell at TSM Corals?
We sell all kinds of fish and corals. Everything's quarantined. Our fish go through a 30-day quarantine. Cupramine, Brazi, formalin if need be. Everything's eating before it's shipped out. We do ship anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah, the people, you and everybody else, I guess, you ship it out in styrofoam, right? They overnight it, right? Yep. And you have some pretty big fish here. Do you usually you ship big fish online as well?
Yeah, we've got a pretty large facility. It's 5,000 square feet, several thousand gallons of actual space dedicated to fish that have already been quarantined, and a few thousand gallons for fish that are in quarantine. So we've got plenty of room for bigger stuff, smaller stuff. We bring it all in.
So you have a wide variety of fish and corals. What about like the snails and shrimp and things like that are kind of hard to find?
Yeah, we have an invertebrate system too. If you're looking at fire shrimp, cleaner shrimp, coral banded shrimp, pistol shrimp, any invert snails, we've got it.
Right, because sometimes that's the hard thing is finding the right snail for your tank or the right, invertebrate. Yeah, so you got a good wide selection. Yep. Where are you located?
We're in Westville, New Jersey. It's about 20 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
And what's the website name?
It's www.tsmcorals.com.
Is there any particular product, is like a last question here, that you are excited about like this year?
Well, we've actually got our hands on quite a few gem tangs.
Quite a few what?
Gem tangs.
Yeah, is that what we're looking at?
They're in the next tank down. We're doing a raffle today, and for every $50 you spend with our booth, you get a raffle ticket. So we're going to raffle one off at the end of the show.
The gem tanks. Okay, so you're excited about that. That's kind of a rare. I don't know how often I've seen those.
You don't see them very often.
Where are they from? Indonesia? Or?
They come out of Africa.
Out of Africa. All right, well, thanks a lot. What's your name?
Matt.
Matt?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're listening to the UnCommonCore podcast with your host Thomas Howell.
JBJ are the little aquariums that are cube. So, well, tell us what they are. Tell us what you have.
Sure. Well, what we have here is actually JBJ cubies. What we've done with all-in-one aquariums is we've actually tightened up the lines. They're not curved glass, they're flat panel. We're using low iron flat panel glass panels. They are all-in-one aquariums with built-in filtration, canopy with LED lighting, nice sharp lines, a very nice contemporary look. We offer them in 3 different sizes, 10-gallon, 15-gallon, and 20-gallon.
Yeah, there's the nano reef, or I guess you call them, right?
Yeah. Well, they're the QB. We have nano or mid-size. Mid-size would be the 20-gallon.
Okay.
The lighting on all of them, they're good enough to do corals. Obviously, low to medium light corals, so it is entry level. You have 36-inch high stand, so it's a nice presence. It's actually a true piece of furniture. The stands are a high polished stand.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me just describe them a little bit. So they're square aquariums on a rectangular matching stand, and they're black and they're white, and it's glass. So it looks touch. It's touch tone on the top. So it's
you have a smart touch
right.
controllers. And you have 2 channels on the lighting. So you have your blues, and then you have your whites and reds on one channel.
And you are JBJ.
We are JBJ.
Do you have a remote control for the lighting? Or
we don't on this model.
Okay.
You have 2.
Some of them?
No. Our 3-gallon desktop one does have a remote control, but on these ones you don't. You have 2 power cords you plug into the timers, and you're ready to go.
And you said it's reef ready, right? So it's kind of like beginning level reef tanks.
Yeah, it's similar to when we came out with our nanocubes. We were the first ones to come out with all-in-one nanocubes. What that did was create an entry-level hobbyist, or even a hobbyist that had a larger tank and wanted another tank in their.
Well, they look really nice, and I've seen these with sea anemones and clownfish.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and they look really nice.
Yeah.
Now, is there a way of upgrading though if they wanted to get like better, higher they needed more power lighting or something
Yeah,
like that,
well, I
or
mean, yeah,
more
you can-
filtration. Can you upgrade them or not?
Well, anything's upgradable. The glass we're using is not tempered, so you can drill into it, and if you wanted to make a sump, you could make a sump version.
Okay.
That's up to the hobbyist. So I know hobbyists in our industry like to tinker with things a lot. So,
So they could plumb it themselves if they wanted to.
Themselves. Now on the canopy, you could actually pop the canopy off, and we will have a different version.
With the glass top.
With the glass top.
Right,
Correct.
right.
Correct.
And then you could have a different
Yeah.
option there.
Yeah.
And what do the prices start on these?
Pricing starts from, and this is the tank and stand pricing, $365 for the 10 gallon. That's tank and stand.
Tank and stand
Tank
for the
and
10 gallon.
stand, yeah.
Okay.
Up to $465. So under $500.
Oh, under $5 for even the 20 gallon tank is under $500.
Correct. That's correct.
Interesting.
So I mean, it's again, aquarium is a piece of furniture in your home. You want it to look good, so this is just a nice contemporary look.
Yeah, and I guess I recommend, like I said before, getting the right kind of animals that are going to be for this tank and not overdoing it or underdoing it. Do something that could survive in this kind of lighting, this kind of system, and you'd be much happier
Of course,
life. Yeah.
Don't go, SPS and full on all the higher end
damsels
stuff.
and clownfish and even some anemones.
Anemones. I mean, you can see what we got in here, and it's doing fine. So
Right. One or two fish, not too much.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. And what's the website?
It's jbjaquariums.com.
jbjaquariums.com. Do you have a Facebook also?
We do, and that's also JBJ Aquariums.
Okay. Great. Well, thanks for talking to me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. It's quite loud today, but I can't leave without talking to you about your product, which are seahorses, live seahorses. What do you have?
Well, here at Seahorse Savvy, we produce many different species. The ones that I have here today are a hybrid between Brazilian red-eye and Erectus seahorses.
Okay, so they're captive bred seahorses, and where do you breed them?
We breed them at our seahorse hatchery, and we're located on the eastern shore of Maryland. And we produce about 5 or 6 different species, including Erectus, red-eye, barberi, and cuda. And we supply them on both a distribution, wholesale, and retail level.
And seahorses I've had seahorses for a long time, on and off. They're one of the most difficult reef fishes to have because of the way they eat. And if you want to do it more easily, you get the live captive bred ones because they're easier to feed, right?
Absolutely. All the seahorses that we offer for sale eat exclusively frozen food. A lot of the bad misconceptions about seahorses comes from when only wild seahorses were available. They're a lot finicky eaters. They don't do well in captivity. And these captive bred ones are much, much hardier. The main thing with the seahorses is temperature. You want them to be at like 74, 75 degrees maximum. That's going to prevent most of your problems that you run into with seahorses.
Do they need live food at all, or they will eat just exclusively mysis shrimp that are pumped with vitamins, I guess, right?
Yeah, we use a blend of Hikari and PE mysis, and once they reach a sellable size at around 18 weeks of age, that's all they need to eat is just frozen mysis shrimp, twice a day.
Yeah, because seahorses constantly eat, and have the natural ones in the tank, you have to have a filtration system, and they have to have the food in there all the time, and they just don't go together. So this is the best way, and really the only way, to have seahorses.
Absolutely. Captive bred is the way to go with seahorses.
How long would they live, these seahorses?
They can have a lifespan you can expect around 5 to 7 years. We sell them anywhere from 18 to 22 weeks old, so you're getting young seahorses to begin with.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, of all the seahorses I've had, 3 years is the maximum that I've ever had a seahorse. That was just a particularly hardy one. And they're all very pretty, too. What are the do you have different colors?
They range in colors from the more natural tans to also oranges, yellows, as well as their markings on them called saddling. Is the silver splotches on them can also make them quite unique. Seahorses can change color just like chameleons do, not only based on their environment but their mood. They get darker when they're upset or in a darker environment. but they also have different base colors. So you get a nice bright seahorse to begin with, and it's more likely that you can get it to, say, a nice bright yellow color.
And what's the cost of the seahorses?
These hybrids retail for about $139 each. Today at the show, we're doing them on a super special of $100 each. Erectus retail about $80 each, all the way to Barber Eye seahorses, which is one of the more expensive ones we work with, go over $200 each.
Which is the hardiest brand type of seahorse? I guess not brand, but
Yeah.
what's the type of seahorse you think is a good size and a good hardy one for someone who just want to start out?
That would definitely be the Erectus seahorse. They're actually local here to the eastern shore of the eastern coast of the United States, all the way down to Central America, and the Erectus by far. As far as brand, Seahorse Savvy, definitely Seahorse Savvy seahorses.
What's the name of your company again?
So we are Seahorse Savvy. You can find us at seahorseSavvy.com and also through PacificEastAquaculture.com.
That's Seahorse Abbey directly, right? That's Seahorse. Oh, Savvy. I'm sorry. I don't know why I can't get the names right here. But Seahorse Savvy, SAVVY. Okay, and .com. Do you have like the little dwarf seahorses?
We have
The
worked
actual dwarf seahorses.
Yes, we have worked with dwarf seahorses. Those are one seahorse that is only going to eat live food, live
Right.
baby brine shrimp.
But they do eat the baby brine, which is
Yes.
a lot easier.
It's,
Yeah.
it's very easy to hatch. Within 18 hours, you can hatch baby brine shrimp. And they are great to keep because you can literally keep them in just a 1 or 2 gallon aquarium.
Right, and then you could also pump the Artemia or the baby seahorses with all kinds of the products that people sell around here for the nutrition, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot more products out today to be successful with those.
So that's that's another one that's a good starter seahorse.
They're easy to keep as long as you stay on top of it. They do need the daily hatching of brine shrimp, so it's a
Right,
little bit
it's a
extra
little
work.
bit- Yeah,
But
the other
they're-
one maybe is easier then, yeah.
I would.
Okay.
They're easy, but I would say the seahorses you can feed frozen food are going to be the easiest.
Right, the easiest, right. Okay, and how long you been doing this? How long your company been around?
We've been doing Seahorse Savvy for about 3 years now.
Okay.
Both myself and my fiance Alyssa are biologists, and we started this out as a hobby and grown it into a full-fledged passionate business.
Right, yeah. Well, there's something about seahorses that's romantic and interesting and funny, and they're just unlike any other creature in the world. Just real quick, what about the exotic ones with the, like you get in Singapore or wherever?
Yeah, the appendages are called Surrey, and Erectus commonly have those, and we do have those in stock. I just don't have them at the show here today.
Right, okay. And do they breed? I mean, do any of your seahorses breed?
They do easily breed. These hybrids I have here are believed to be sterile, like most hybrid animals, but purebred seahorses will breed. Raising the babies is a different story.
Right, then you have to get into the higher end
Yeah,
food chain thing. Right.
It's a lot of work, but it's rewarding if you do have time to do it.
Right. And what size tanks? Last question. Like, what size tanks do you think a person needs in order to raise a certain amount of seahorses? Like, you could start with 2 or 4 seahorses, and
Absolutely, we recommend at least keeping a pair of seahorses and a 30-gallon aquarium for any of the greater seahorses, with 15 gallons for each additional pair.
okay, there you go. Right. And any other type of requirements that a person should know when they're getting a seahorse, as far as like filtration or anything like that?
They do require very clean water. We recommend
Very clean water.
Very clean. Good protein skimmer, ultraviolet sterilizer is a plus. And tips number 1, 2, and 3 is keep the water cooler. 74, 75 tops.
Okay, so a chiller would help. Yeah.
In some areas of the country, a chiller is needed. Other areas, a fan blowing across the top of the aquarium can lower the tank enough.
Yeah, I noticed your tank has an open top, which helps keeps it a little bit clean as cool as well.
Absolutely, especially now with more energy efficient pumps, LED lighting, it's a lot easier to keep an aquarium cooler.
Right. Okay. And what's your name again?
My name's Kyle.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, great product, and congratulations on converting your hobby into a business, and a really cool one at that.
Thank you. It's nice to be able to wake up every day and love what you do.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Okay, we're up. So who are you first? Where are you from?
I'm from New York, from East Broadway.
Uh-huh. What's your name?
Jose?
And what's your name?
Omar.
Omar, also from East Broadway?
Yeah.
Yeah, around that area?
Mostly he's from the Bronx. He's my son.
Oh, okay. You guys, okay,
Yeah.
father and son. So what did you buy? What did you buy at the Reef-A-Palooza show?
Well, I just bought food, some corals.
Some live corals?
Yes.
You have a coral reef tank, obviously. What
Yeah.
size?
28. So I bought another one, 40 gallons now.
Oh, what kind? What kind of tank did you get?
Nanocube.
Oh,
The
yeah,
ringless,
nanocube,
the
yeah.
ringless,
Yeah, that's about the good. The 40 gallons is.
Yeah, I
That's
was
like
looking- I was
for
looking
me,
for-
40 gallons is like the perfect size around that.
I
Yeah.
was looking for 65, but not my satisfaction.
I think a 40 is perfect. Once you get it inside, it just looks great. So what brands did you get? What's the brand of the tank?
GBL.
JBL?
Yeah, GBL.
And what kind of food did you get?
Well, I got different kind of food. I got frozen food and flake food because sometimes the flake is better than the pellets.
Right.
Pellet goes straight down to the bottom. The fish doesn't.
Right.
Got
Hey,
it.
the flakes kind of circulate around.
Yeah, and then you got time, and then that's why I came here. to look
What
for
did you
food.
think of the show? Do you think it was a good show?
It was a good show.
Yeah.
I was expecting no many people. There was a lot of people.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see any of the speakers?
No, I don't got the time for that section.
Yeah. Okay. How long have you been into reefs?
More than 10 years.
Is this your car?
Yes.
Okay, that's your car. Well, thank you for talking to me.
My
Great.
pleasure, man.
Thanks a lot.
All
Bye-bye.
right, thanks.
With all the disasters these last few months, if you'd like to help but don't know how, you might consider the Coral Restoration Foundation. They grow coral in its natural habitat to restore reefs that have been damaged. Their website is coralrestoration.org. That's coralrestoration.org. coralrestoration.org. You can also find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This is Tom Howell. That's Cue the Pug. You're listening to the UnCommonCore Podcast, Episode 19, Reef-A-Palooza, Part 3, Everything You Need. If you'd like to attend Reef-A-Palooza in person, the next one will be held in Orlando, Florida, on the weekend of April 7th and 8th at the Carab Royale Hotel and Convention Center. After that, they'll return to the Meadowlands Exposition Center in New Jersey on June 23rd and 24th. If you'd like, you can also contribute to the podcast on our blog under the subscribe and support link. As usual, I'll have links to everyone from the episodes on our blog at www.uncommoncorepodcast.com or www.uccpodcast.com. If you'd like to know more about my experiences in reef keeping, you can read my notes on the episode menu. And so, without further ado, here are the last few interviews from my visit to Reef-A-Palooza. There's a lot of there's a lot of everything here, but you guys have looks like the high-end skimmers, and you got some high-end pumps here that I'm not that familiar with actually, because I used to do it a while back. But they look good quality. And you sell all this kind of thing, or these two things, or what do you have?
Yeah, so at Ecotech Marine, we manufacture the Radion series of LED lights, the Vortex series of magnetically coupled power heads, as well as a centrifugal return pump that we call the Vectra, and we've got different sizes and models of each. We also distribute in North America the Nios line of skimmers, test kits, elements, and foods. They are a German company, and we're their exclusive North American distributor. So they, like you mentioned, make a very high quality skimmer. Their test kits are also one of my favorites. Very, very simple to use. But in terms of the Ecotech products, we've got two versions of the Radion, the XR15, which is a single LED cluster that has 22 LEDs, and then we also have our XR30W Radion, which has two LED clusters with between 44 and 46 LEDs.
Right, and those are on the one on display is in a glass tank, open glass tank with the what is it called, the open bevel here?
We got a rimless Red Sea.
Rimless.
Yep.
Rimless Red Sea Aquarium, and it snaps on the top. And do you make them inside hoods as well for LED, or is it just like this?
Yeah, so our lights are designed to be hung from hanging kits, as well as what we call our RMS mounts. Our Radion mounting system is what that stands for. So on this aquarium, like you mentioned, it's a Red Sea 250 reefer, which is a rimless aquarium, and we have what we call our multi-light RMS, which is essentially two arms that are connected by a rail, But we also have mounting options that would fit with inside of a canopy, assuming that you have some clearance. We like those lights to be mounted at least 8 inches above the water surface, so certain canopies might be a little tight in there.
Well, they look good with this type of aquarium. I mean, the hood and the beveled glass on the top looks really nice. Also, I noticed the skimmers. There's a couple of, they're not here in this show, but there's a couple American companies that make some skimmers. But when I was in Asia, I lived in Bangkok for a while, a lot of that stuff was German. I really got an appreciation for the German equipment. Sometimes they make complete kits, and they're hard to find here in the U.S. So this is, it's heavy duty, and it looks like you can clean it more easily, you can take it apart more easily. You're not gonna have to, it's not cheap, finicky little parts.
And that's correct. With 4 screws, you'll be able to access the motor and all the internal components on this skimmer. So by removing the 4 screws around the base, you have access to essentially every component should you need to service the skimmer. And we do recommend from time to time giving them a cleaning, running them in some vinegar or some hot water, just to get any of that buildup off in there. But they are extremely robust, very, very high quality skimmer, and they can range anywhere from that nano, 40 to 50 gallon aquarium, all the way up to very large 1,000-gallon systems. They've got a skimmer that'll suit your needs.
Are they different types of designs that they go in the sump, or are they ones that hang? Are there ones that hang on the side, or?
So all their skimmers are designed to be mounted in sump. So they are all an in sump version of the skimmer now. There are 4 models: the 120, the 160, the 220, and then the largest is our 300, which actually has 2 different motors powering it to really give it that extra power you need in a larger aquarium. But they take up, the 120 takes up a very, very small area, and you only need about 8 inches of water to be able to run that skimmer.
Right. And one of the problems I remember I had with some of the skimmers is they made a lot of noise. Are these quiet skimmer? I know the German products are generally a little bit better than that.
Yeah, and like with most European companies, they really do take a strong focus on the noise of their products. So the Nios definitely took that to heart with this product. The skimmers themselves are very, very efficient and do run incredibly quietly. They utilize a submersible motor inside that skimmer that runs very, very smooth and will give you very quiet operation.
Yeah, because people are coming over. You have a huge investment on this beautiful aquarium, and sometimes people come over and they hear this, or the water splashing at night, or something like that. So it's good to have where that's all thought through. Right.
And that's exactly right. With the skimmers, there was a lot of engineering and R&D that went into this specific cone skimmer. And like I said, it is coming out of Germany. So the European market is one that focuses on a very quiet, simplistic system. And that's exactly what you're getting with the Nios, an elegantly designed skimmer that performs quietly and very efficiently, for a very long time. You're not going to have an issue with this skimmer anytime soon.
Yeah, one more thing is the pumps here. I noticed, they're over here. The Vortec, was it? How does this work? Is this like a power head only, and then you have pumps as well? On the other side, you had a display for pumps.
That's correct, yeah. So the Vortec line of pump, that's our flagship product, the MP40, what we first came out with about 14 years ago now. The beauty of the Vortec line of pumps is that it's magnetically coupled. So your motor, the heat, is all kept on the outside of the aquarium, and it's magnetically coupled to an impeller on the inside. So that way you're not going to have to worry about things like heat being transferred in the aquarium. There's no chance of any stray voltage entering the aquarium. We also utilize a DC motor in our pumps. So not only does it run very, very quietly, it allows you...
Yeah, it's quiet also.
Exactly, yeah, it's extremely quiet, but it allows you the ability to control it. That your pump is not just going to run at a constant speed all day long. You have the ability to program it a 24-hour schedule that it can
You can work it with the wave machine
exactly,
and stuff like that.
Exactly,
Yeah.
It's got its own its own wave box built into it, if you will.
Okay.
It can create a back and forth standing wave in your aquarium. It can simulate a very active tidal environment, as well as more of that lagoonal type reef where you would find some softer corals and mangroves, different types of fish, things like that.
And it looks nice too. It's one of those things where there's certain products you try to get them to hide, they try to hide the product, and other products they kind of just have it out there. And this one you see it, but it looks nice. And it's right into the side of the aquarium where you have a bulkhead or something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's exactly it. You know, we spend a lot of time on our products before releasing them. A lot of R&D goes into them, as I mentioned earlier, and it is something that you should be proud of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want to go with as elegant of a design as possible. It really doesn't detract from the beauty of the aquarium. It's really only enhancing how everything looks in the aquarium and doesn't take away from the aesthetic.
Right, and one more. You had the other. Do you have the other kind of pump also?
That's right.
I noticed, because that's another product that, you know, it's kind of. And the Eheim is another German company that used to make good
Very
pumps.
similar. Yep.
Yeah.
So the Vector itself is a centrifugal return pump. That's also a DC motor that's inside of there with a controller. So you can dial that pump from barely any flow at all, zero flow, all the way up to 3,100 gallons per hour. So they're very dynamic. And with that Vector, you also have the ability to use those different wave modes. So you could create a pulsing action from your return pump.
From the
Should
return
you,
pump.
should you want to use it in, say, a closed loop application, is really where you'll find that beneficial.
Yeah, because a lot of the ones, at least when I was doing it, I mean, apart from like maybe Eheim and a couple other ones, like German, you know, were, they were like industrial ones that were kind of retrofitted for an aquarium. Yeah, and they weren't really aquarium pumps.
Right.
This looks like a specifically designed aquarium pump, and it's nice looking as well.
That's exactly right. It's a purpose-built product. It was built to be a return pump in a reef aquarium and give you the features that that the hobbyists asked for. They needed a return pump that could give them those that wave action that you would receive from your standard power head, should they want to run it in a closed loop, and they wanted a pump that has the power to be able to power a large reef tank. Now, both the M1 and the L1 Vector, the two different sizes, have a max head pressure of 21.5 feet. So you should be able to run that down in a basement sump, or an external sump.
Put it under the tank, and you don't have to worry about the return problem. Yeah. That's very good. Well, it's very clear.
Hey, I appreciate
really
it, Tom.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for telling me all about it.
Yeah.
You got a great product,
Sure,
so
enjoy
good
the
display.
Show, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Not necessarily into reefs, but maybe they'll get into it, or maybe there are some people. I never know who's listening, actually.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so let's see, make sure it's going. Okay, so who are you? I was walking by the booth, and you have the only art at the exhibit. It's framed on a canvas, and it's basically blacklight-looking coral stuff.
That's correct. So my name is Rachel Fogel, and I'm with Reef Weeds, and I paint UV reef-inspired art. So the whole point behind it is to fluoresce the painting behind your reef tank, but it also will work really in any setting. So
yeah, Reef Weeds. So how long have you been doing this?
I've been painting for about 30 years, but these particular paintings I've been doing only since January of this year.
Why the fluorescent? What got you into doing the I mean, it's like a fluorescent from the old days.
It is. As my dad says, you mean you're painting Elvis on velvet? I'm like, no, Dad, I'm not. But
that's an idea. You can make velvet version.
It is. I first started out as a reef tank hobbyist.
Oh, okay.
And with the light that you hang above the tank, there's a lot of blue light spill. So I wanted to try to take advantage of that,
right,
and then set off the tank too. So that's kind of where
because it's
this
the
came
same
out.
thing that shines the corals off.
That's correct. Same lights. So it's it also works with black light, which goes back to what we were just talking about before, but also works with actinic and your blue LEDs, really UV. Anything that will grow coral will fluoresce the
That's a good idea. So I mean, because especially the tanks with the elevated lights,
correct,
the LED lights that are above the tank, they're spillover of light, and so you turn your lights off if you're looking at your aquarium, and this is going to show out of your side wall.
Exactly. So that was the point of it, kind of take advantage of that, since I wasn't a fan of having my whole room blue, but you can't get away from that being in this hobby. So I really just wanted to create some art that kind of utilized that space. So.
And these are all, so far you have all corals here demonstrated, and fish.
Yep.
Do you have any abstract art or any other kinds of things?
I do actually do traditional landscape, still life with oils. I have done some abstract in the past, but not with the UV paint. The UV paint I've really only used in this particular type of art with the corals, but something that I've thought about experimenting with now that I've gotten into this. So.
Yeah, because I was just thinking it might be a bit much, you know, the coral and 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 the coral everywhere.
Yeah,
So-
but it's a neat idea too.
Yeah.
You never know where I'll end up or what I'll end up doing next. So.
And you have a website?
I do. It's www.reefweeds.com, and
REEFWEEDS, reefweeds.com.
And I'm mostly on Instagram actually, and my username
Why
there is
weeds?
Reef Weeds.
I think you're going to get confused people
I know.
it's got
And I didn't realize it till
Reef-A-Palooza.
after. I
I think
know.
there's a bunch of there's a deadhead bus parked out in the front. I think so.
It's with me, I started in this hobby and I really like macroalgae or seaweed. So that's kind of where this came out with. I'm a big fan of soft corals, which some people call, you know, the weeds in your tank, and then with seaweed being one of my things that I love to cultivate, you know, that's kind of where this came about. So
You also have T-shirts and little boxes and things like that. And okay, so you have it on the website. Is it in any stores or anything like that?
I do have some available at Justin Graybo's gallery in New London.
Where?
New London, Connecticut.
Okay.
So, and he does both wholesale for coral propagation, and then also has a gallery attached.
Yeah,
which
you kind of
features
need a little
fish.
gallery.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And where are you? Is that where you live?
I live in Connecticut. I live in Norwich, Connecticut. So, yep.
Well, you do probably have one of the easier. You and the guy that has the dry food.
Yeah.
have the easiest booth to set up.
That is true.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
No water.
it was a pleasure meeting
Nice
you, and
meeting
good
you
luck
too.
with it. And it was nice talking to you.
Nice talking to
Okay.
you too. Thanks.
Bye bye.
We have a lot of different things.
Okay,
Just
hold on
don't
a
say that it
second.
was me talking.
Okay. I was, like I said a second ago, I was on my way out, and also on the way in, you have the display right at the front door. And actually, yesterday on the setup, you were sitting in a little corner with a pile of boxes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you have? What is this? This is saltwater? Saltwater?
Yes, we do. We actually specialize in saltwater, freshwater, and pond products. So Fritz Aquatics, we're actually a
It's
division.
Fritz, F-R-I-T-Z.
FRITZ, we're actually a division of Fritz Industries. We work with public aquariums, we also work with aquaculture facilities, and we also do private label. You may be familiar with the Mardell line. We private labeled for them, and we actually just bought them out. But we make water conditioners, we make a very high quality salt, we do nitrifying bacteria. So we have dabble in a little bit of everything when it comes to the aquatics industry.
So it's like a chemicals
Yes,
company.
we do make chemicals. Like I said, we do like the reef safe medications. We also formulate quick cure, copper safe, a lot of medications that you want to implement into a quarantine system. We also have our live nitrifiers. What you can use
You
to
said a
cycle
pure something. That'd be for the freshwater, right?
we do have a freshwater line as well. We have water conditioners for freshwater and saltwater. We also have our bacterias for fresh and saltwater as well.
What is the conditioner you mentioned for saltwater?
Like our Fritz Complete and our Fritz Guard, it's going to remove ammonia, nitrites, heavy metals, chloramines, and chlorines.
And you mix
and
it in
stuff
the water?
Yeah, it's very similar. Just like some people they have very clean well water.
You mix it in the water.
You mix it in the
Oh,
water
okay.
and it
Because a lot
detoxifies
of people
any-
put it in the salt water. They do it in the
Right.
water before you mix it in with the
Right,
salt.
right,
Oh,
right,
okay, okay. That
because
clarifies it.
or some people have like sometimes elevated TDS that you want to bring down, but they don't. It's not elevated enough to where they can justify getting an RO unit. So we have like a Fritz Complete that's going to detoxify the
It's
chlorine.
probably
and
just an
ammonia.
easier way than having a system filter the water,
Right,
right?
right.
I mean, it's
and
probably
some people choose that option. Every reefer
that's
is
more
different.
expensive, I'm sure, though, right? Harder.
Personally, I prefer a RODI system just because I know, like, I can measure my TDS and I know it's always going to be nice and clean.
And you make
when it
those
comes
products as well, or not?
We don't make the RO
Right,
units.
that's like
no.
the Lifeguard and companies
Right,
like that,
right. Yeah, we just do the water conditioners.
And your salt, you said it's high-end salt. What is the price of the salt?
So the MSRP on our box, our 55-pound box, is going to be $74.99. We are the highest quality controlled salt on the market right now. We source out the cleanest raw materials. materials, and we actually ICP everything in-house also.
Because there's Red Sea down there. That's a good product, but it's a little lower on the spectrum, I guess. Because then there's Kent and there's Seachem and there's a couple of other high-end.
We love all of our competitors. Everybody's a little bit different.
But you're more of a chemical company, right?
We are a specialized chemical company.
They're more expensive, it sounds like, right?
Well, we integrate because we are ISO certified, we're EPA approved, we're FDA approved. They walk our facility 4 times a year. So we have everything in compliance. We also have microbiologists on staff at all times. So we really believe in creating the quality products versus we want the science and the backing behind our stuff.
Right.
Because we're not trying to pump out 100 SKUs a year. We believe in smaller SKUs and high quality products.
Yeah, because when I did it, I remember I had like 2 or 3 different salts that I had.
Right.
There was the cheap salt that I could get and I had in stock, and then there was the premium stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's one of the things people are always toying with. And you also have the fresh ocean nowadays, too, as well.
Right. And you'll see that a lot along the Florida coast down near Miami, where a lot of these stores use natural seawater. So.
Right. Okay, great. And you have a website, or do you sell through the other vendors?
We are very dealer-centric. We love to support our stores. We do have one online retailer, saltwateraquarium.com. They are MAP protected. That is just for our locations like Buffalo or upstate New York, where we don't have a lot of stores out there, or you're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
And that's what?
Saltwateraquarium.com.
Okay, well, that's easy. And do you have a website, though, that talks about your product specifically if they want to know more detail?
Yes, www.fritz, F-R-I-T-Z, aquatics, AQUATICS.com.
Okay, great. And then that's it. So thank you very much.
You're
What's your
welcome.
name?
Anne.
Anne.
Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Anne. Okay, bye-bye. Well, that's it for Reef-A-Palooza. For advertising on the UnCommonCore podcast, go to www.advertisecast.com/1306. That's advertisecast.com/1306. Think 13 6-year-olds. And you can find us on Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and our YouTube channel, where you can listen to playlists, including one that has videos from vendors from the Reef-A-Palooza series. That's UnCommonCore Podcast on YouTube. Look for the pink and yellow Hug the Pug logo. On our blog, you can read my choice for the top 5 rooms at the New York Audio Show, which will be featured in a future episode. We are also publishing on PRX. If you want, you can find us there. As usual, our Hug the Pug merchandise will be found at hugthepug.com. Remember to hit the subscribe button on iTunes and support us on the subscribe and support link on uccpodcast.com. If you want to make me happy, download us on Stitcher. I have 0 downloads there. Next episode, I'll be joined by stand-up comic Toothbrush, who joined us during his anniversary for the 3rd installment of the Capsule Show during New York's Fashion Week.
You've been listening to the UnCommonCore podcast with Thomas Howell. I'm Satoko Smith. Thank you for listening.